What's good, Miami sports fans? Welcome back to the long-awaited Miami Sports Break return. David Eversole, joined as always by my partner Jaccare Givens, live front and center here. Going to wrap up the new year with a good show. A lot to talk about in the world of Miami sports. But before we jump in, want to mention one of our big sponsors here at the Five Reasons Sports Network, Prize Picks Daily Fantasy. You see us promoting a lot of their content. It's one of the most user-friendly formats out there for daily fantasy. You can mix NBA, NFL, any of the active sports going on at that time you can play. So sign up at prizepicks.com/sign hyphen up. Use promo code 5. What's going on, Jock? How you doing, brother?
Everything is good. Obviously it's been an interesting time in Miami sports.
Yeah.
Dolphins on the 7-game winning streak. The Heat just broke news that PJ Tucker, Struce, and Vincent are now on the COVID protocols list. That was 2 hours ago, so I think the Heat are probably going to get a couple of games postponed going forward.
Yeah, it's time. I mean, it's just a mess. And the fact that they've just been winning with whoever Spo has available on a given night, a lot of guys getting experience. I mean, there is a silver lining in this cloud, obviously, but I think for the player safety and for the safety of everybody involved, they need to take a step back and evaluate league wide what they're doing and put the health and safety of everybody in the NBA first and foremost. But,
Yeah,
we're going to start out,
right
obviously.
now, because right now, like the ticket sales, you can go to a Heat game for about $10 right now. And just from a fan perspective, I don't want to go to a game and watch Kyle Guy. I want to go see Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, those guys. So from a fan perspective, the product is gonna get hard to watch because you're gonna be out there playing, seeing guys like, oh, I remember him from college, but not a pro guy. So
Yeah, and I've liked watching some of the young guys like Yurtseven, Gabe Vincent. Obviously, he's a little bit older, but it's good to see these guys jump in and really play above and beyond expectations. So I'm happy to see that. Bam's missed 14 games. The Heat are 9-5 without Bam. So I mean, they're just like a lot of people in this world. They're just kind of getting through what the day brings them. So it's going to be nice when we can just focus on basketball and not have all this pandemic still hanging over our heads. But I want to jump into the Dolphins. Obviously, a big win on Monday night versus the Saints, 20-3. The defense was just ridiculous against Ian Book, and the offense did just enough. So I wanted to talk to you today, Jock, about what your thoughts are overall. I guess let's start with the offense and what did you see? What did you like and didn't like from that game on Monday night?
Well, obviously, we already know what we don't like. The offensive line is bad. So, credit to the OC Gotsey and what he's doing because he's hiding a very, very bad O line. And they're able to win with it. So obviously the O line, but let's talk about the stuff that is going on. Obviously, this is who Tua is. He always has one bad mistake a game where you just
Mm-hmm.
like, what are you doing? But other than that, the offense is doing very well. You had Waddle with 10 receptions, 92 yards, a touchdown, 12 targets. Um, Tua 19 to 26, 198 yards, a touchdown, and interception. So you enjoying it. You're seeing what you want, right? You drafted the guy with the 6th overall pick. They're getting him the football. He's their best offensive player. I banged the door from day one to draft the kid because he fits what Tua is. He's an intermediate to short passing game guys who can run after the catch and do their thing. So that's why I wanted him, right? And obviously he's paying dividends, and I think that he's their best offensive player. I think Gesicki will get going later on down the stretch. Probably if the Dolphins winning next 2 games, it's going to be because of Gesicki, Parker having big games, right? And to be honest, you really don't know what the offense is in totality because you paid Will Fuller, who only played 2 or 3 games in the season, and you didn't get to see you don't have it where you can take the top off the defense with him, right? So if the offensive line was better, you'll see more chunk plays from Waddle, but you have to love what you're seeing. They're hiding a bad offensive line. Um, they're playing well enough to win. They're relying on the defense, but I think Miami can make a push. depending on matchups this year, I think they can go to the AFC Championship game. But I do see them if they get in, they have to win the last two games. If they get a favorable matchup against the Cincinnati, the Colts,
Mhm.
or the Titans in round one, they'll win that game. And then obviously you'll have to play either the Chiefs and whoever else may be remaining.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about Waddle. Obviously, he's been the focal point of the offense, but you see on this graphic that he had 12 targets. The whole rest of the team combined only had 14. So out of those 26 attempts from Tua, 12 of them went to Waddle, including the interception that was a bad overthrow. And
No, that wasn't to
no, that
Waddle.
wasn't. He missed Waddle on that one.
He
Sorry.
missed Waddle on that. And I think if he hit Waddle on that, I think Waddle would have walked in the end zone.
Yeah, no, he was wide open there for sure. But I don't understand, like from a week to week, why there can't be a second guy that's getting some run in there, whether it's Gesicki or whether it's Parker or anybody else. They just don't seem to have a plan B for Waddle, and he's been great. But it seems to me like the offense is a little bit limited, and maybe they're not using guys right. I would like to see
You
Gesicki a little
can't
bit more.
you can't say that just because when the top receivers on every team in the NFL gets targets. Like they get overwhelming targets. You had a guy in Mike Thomas who broke the record for receptions. He had over like 400 targets. I forgot how many targets. It was a assumed number of targets. They were force feeding him. But it's
Mhm.
different with Waddle because they're getting him the ball in space. So they're throwing him screens. They're lining him up in the backfield, motioning him out on flare routes. They're doing a lot of stuff with him to get him the football. So he's been used how he should. He's getting his touches in different ways. So you can't really say like is the offense limited? No, every top receiver in the league gets force fed the targets. That's just what it
But
is. Like I said, I don't think that nobody's had a plan for him over the next 2 weeks, especially that Week 18 game against the Patriots. We're gonna have to see other guys get
yeah,
involved.
like you talked about, eventually a good defense is going to scheme him out. And New Orleans, I think, just got kind of worn down. They got a lot of guys out, obviously, on both sides of the ball. And I just think he's forcing it maybe a little bit to Waddle and not looking for the
I
guys
we
in
didn't we
certain
didn't see
situations.
we didn't see any force throws to Waddle. Every time he hit him, Waddle was open. So it's different. Like forcing the ball to him is like when he threw that pick. He made his mind up. He wanted to take a shot downfield, and that's what it was. But the water was wide open on that on the deep dig route. That if
Like a
he
dig,
hits
yeah.
him, he's open. So a lot of it is he's just getting open. When you're open, we can't say it's force feeding the target. It's him hitting the open guy, and that's what Tua is. He's a rhythm guy. So those short passing games get him going. But like I said, I think going down the stretch, they're gonna have to get Gesicki involved. Parker, he's been in and out. But I just think it was Waddle's game this game. I think he
Mhm.
had the best matchup. I think Marshawn Lattimore was taking Devontae Parker out of the game. So, and I seen Lattimore on Gesicki at times. So I think they were just doing a good job, and you had to exploit the one-on-one matchup. Gardner could not guard him, so you had to keep going to him. Now you may not want to go to him, but if the guy's getting open, you have to.
Yeah, but before we switch to the defense, I want to talk about the running game. You see that there, 30 rushes, which is good. I think you're keeping the balance and you're being just enough. You have enough of those first and second down runs to keep you in third and manageable. So I'm not going to harp too much on that. I mean, 2.9 yards per carry might have to change the name of the podcast to that, but
Yeah,
you
but
know, the,
it's you can't do anything about that because the offensive line is bad. So you just run the ball to keep it honest. You get some chunk runs here every once in a while. I think the Duke Johnson addition has helped Miami immensely. He's a guy he's what the Dolphins need at running back, Swiss Army guy. He's a
mhm,
guy that's what they need. So even going forward next year, like I said, I put in this group chat. I love for them to go after Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, or Marlon Mack. I think those are three guys who will help them tremendously. And then you also have Duke Johnson,
mhm.
who will help you as a Swiss Army. And you draft the James Cook guy. Like James Cook from Georgia is going to be a way better pro than people think. He just went to Georgia, and that's how they use their guys. But James Cook, that's looking in the future. But going forward, if they can run the ball like that, that's fine. You just want to keep the balance because essentially they're doing RPOs and quick passes to Waddle as an extension of the run game. Gesicki's getting his little pop passes that's
Mhm.
picking up 4 or 5 yards. So they're doing a lot of extension run game stuff. So you can't really look at the numbers like that.
Yeah, and I want to just before we go to the defense, what do you think of Duke Johnson and Philip Lindsay coming back next year? You
I
think
want
that's a
Duke.
viable option? One, both, neither? What do you think about that?
I think Duke Johnson is the guy that needs to come back. Philip Lindsay is a good runner, but he runs blind. So I don't really see him as a thing. And he can't pass protect, doesn't catch the ball particularly well out of the backfield. If Tua's going to be your quarterback going forward, you need guys who are Swiss Army knives, guys who can catch the ball, run the ball, stuff like that. Dudes like that so you can get it out in space. But if the offensive line is better, then you can put anybody at running back, right? You know what I mean? But I think Duke Johnson should be a guy that comes back. I think Gaskins, Lindsey, and Ahmed should go elsewhere. I think Duke should come back. You draft and then you trade for another guy like a Marlon Mack, and you draft one of those young backs like a James Cook or something like that to use them to shore up your running back room.
Yeah, because we can't draft offensive line. We try every year, but we never
Oh no,
draft running
I'm
backs, it
all I'm
seems.
all
So,
for right now that they put all the money and
yeah,
throw the bag at some of these offensive
100%.
line.
And I know a lot of the local guys have been tweeting that out as well that follow the team closely. And it just makes sense. At this point, you got to just go with a proven product. And I think running backs have a quicker learning curve come into the league. So you can get a high running back, second, third round that can come in from day one and probably make an impact. But let's talk about that Dolphins defense, man. I mean, obviously, with a rookie quarterback making his first start in Ian Book, Flores is going to go into his bag and show him a lot of different things early to get his mind racing and making him hesitate a little bit. So, what did you like in that game plan for the Dolphins defense there? I mean, they didn't really seem to do much wrong on
No,
Monday night.
it was just pretty much, you knew you were gonna see the pressure looks, right, and the blitzing of the young kid, and Book wasn't ready. Um, you seen it in the first play. He had Kamara wide open. He tried to force it with Needham. They hit a pick six. So I think Miami did things that we expected. It was a tough game. You can't fault Ian Book. That's a tough defense to game plan against. You seeing exotic pressures. They're dropping, they're rushing. You don't know who's coming, and that's in the blitz package. So I'm excited, and obviously Javon Holland has been a great find this year. He's been one of the best safeties in the league. Jaden Phillips as well. So Miami did a lot of great things, and you just like to see them produce. They did what they were supposed to do against that
Mm,
team at
yep.
that moment. So going forward for Miami to make any type of run, the defense is going to have these type of performances where they're holding teams to 3, 7, 10 points, like that, to have a chance to win.
Yeah, and I like the fact that Nick Needham had a pick six there. He's been a little bit up and down this season. It was good to see him capitalize on that tip by AVG and some of those guys up front like Zach Sealer, Van Ginkel, Ogba had 2 sacks. Jerome Baker had a sack and a half, and he seemed to be everywhere flying around on the field. So,
And that's another thing I think next year they have to address. They need to get a linebacker. I think they should draft one.
mhm,
And let Jerome Baker kind of be like a Swiss Army knife guy. Not like how, lining up him to rush the passer, but move him to the will of Sam Backer and let him roam a little bit more than he was. Because I think Miami just settled in defensively after that 1-7 start. Obviously, Brian Flores took over the play calling. He can
mhm,
deny it all he wants, but you can kind of see the difference in the first 7 games to that game against
mhm.
Baltimore when he finally probably put more imprint on it, and you see the difference that they were doing. So I like it. They bring a lot of pressure. I'm not. I didn't look up the blitz numbers. I know we blitzed the second amount of the team, but the Todd Bowles is a defensive coordinator guy who brings the blitz a
Mm.
lot. The Bucks blitz a lot, so it's
Yeah,
kind of what
they're
he.
the number one team. Tampa
Yeah,
Bay is the top blitzing team in the NFL, and then right
Tampa
ahead of
Bay
Miami.
brings a lot of blitzes. So when you have guys at backer who can get home and the secondary guys that they have who can tackle really well,
Yeah.
you use that to your advantage. So I think that gives teams problems. Obviously, if you were to look for that Mahomes is a guy that you wouldn't want to pressure like that because he makes plays off schedule. So that's a game where you'll sit more back in a too high look, just playing, let him dink and dunk downfield. But the rest of the guys in the AFC, quarterback wise, you have a chance against Ryan Tannehill, Joe
Mac
Burrow,
Jones.
Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Josh Allen. I don't want to play Buffalo because it seems like we can't get over the hump
Yeah,
against
we
them.
get their
So
defense is just too good.
that's another guy
We
that
can't
you
put up enough
can't
points
blitz.
against
You
Buffalo.
can't blitz either. You can't blitz that guy. Now the only thing interesting with Buffalo this time around, it won't be no Tre'Davious White. So if you were to draw Buffalo, but you like I said, you want the matchup of the Colts, the Titans, or the Bengals in that first round because you feel pretty confident that you can win those games going forward.
And Miami, I think, is by far the best blitzing team from the secondary. You see
Out
Jones
of the
coming
AFC,
in, Holland.
out of AFC remaining, the three best defensive teams, Colts, Dolphins, and Patriots. Those are the three best teams out of that seven in the top in the AFC. If you look at the seven playoff teams, what you have: the Chiefs, the Titans, the Bengals, Buffalo, the Colts, the Dolphins, and I think the Chargers were the sixth seed right now.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
there's a
Chargers.
lot of teams jumbled up right there. So
Yeah.
for Miami to be in the hunt, as they like to say, it's quite an accomplishment. And
Because
you've seen them.
right now, as is, you got the Chiefs, that's one, Titans 2, Cincinnati 3, Buffalo 4, Indianapolis Colts 5, New England 6, Dolphins 7, right? In the hunt, you have Ravens, who I think are done because they don't have I don't think Lamar plays the rest of the season. The Chargers are going to Charger. I think the Raiders are going to lose out. I think the Pittsburgh is done, Cleveland is done, and Denver is done. So you telling me out of those 7 teams, you wouldn't rank Miami defense 1 or 2 right there as one of the top 2 AFC defenses? I think you will. So I think Miami has a strong chance to make a playoff push. I just think the offensive line isn't good enough to win those tough games.
Yeah, and you can't have that one deadly mistake in a close playoff type game from Tua
Yep.
against New
And
Orleans. It's one thing, but he's
And
got
look,
to just go a game without doing
and
that.
I said that though. I tweeted. I didn't tweet it. I said it to. I said Miami can win, but Tua has that mistake in the playoff game. That one crucial mistake was not that many big plays in the playoffs that can seal your fate. But what I will say is Tua's a gamer. I trust him in big moments. I do. I think he's that quarterback. And and to be honest, you have to take your chances with him. He's a winner. That's one thing he has done since he's been in the league. He did it at Alabama. So, and you got to look, the thing that put him on the map, he came in as a true freshman and threw and won them a national championship game that they were going to lose had he not come in the game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the thing about Tua, he has a short memory. Even when he makes a bad play, you see it 9 times out of 10, it's a touchdown the next drive.
And he's gonna respond after that bad play, though,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So you've got the thing about Tua, which everybody I think was drawn to, was just his intangibles, and the fact that he's a hardworking, humble guy that wants to win and doesn't let a mistake kind of linger like you'll see some quarterbacks with the body language. Tua's pretty even keel the whole time, and I think the team responds to that. And with a young team, without a lot of Pro Bowlers, without a lot of really marquee players that are established, they got a lot of young guys coming up, and hopefully they're going to turn. But
and like I said, I think the Dolphins are in a good position now. They can get this can be equivalent to one of those teams who got hot late in the season and they make a run to the Super Bowl. Like it can't go like that. It's football.
That's how it goes.
It's a one game trick, and you don't. And most of the time with the Super Bowl stuff, you look at last year with the Tampa Bay Bucks. They struggled, mightily throughout the season. They got hot round about the about 5 or 6 games left, and then they just rode that wave all the way to a championship.
Yeah, and you see it year after year with teams getting hot, and you're peaking at the right time, as we like to say. But I'm looking forward to this Tennessee matchup, obviously with Tannehill.
Now, if they win this game against Tennessee, the Hard Rock is going to be electric for that Patriots game because that's a big game.
Definitely, but make sure to follow us across the network. Follow my partner Jock here at King Jock 24. You can follow me at David W. Eversole. And make sure to check back throughout the network this week. 3 yards per carry. He's going to have a lot of content leading up to the Titans game. And real
And
quick,
before you go, what is your prediction for the game on Sunday?
I think Miami responds again. They might struggle a little bit early on the road. Tennessee is a tough team at home. They got a pretty solid defense, but I think Miami is just a team on the rise, and they're going to do a lot of things. Tennessee's pretty one-dimensional, so I think that they can take advantage of that. And I'm going to look for a little bit more on offense this week. I'm going to go 28-27 Dolphins.
I think I'll go with about around the same. I think Miami wins 24-17. I think they just had a blueprint for Ryan Tannehill, and he has no pocket awareness, and this favors Miami. So, like I said, I think that Patriots game is gonna be that's gonna be a slug. But I think Miami.
A street brawl thing, like Frank says.
I think if Miami wins this game, that Week 18 game, I think Miami wins a close one, 20-17, because I think Mac Jones, the pressure kind of gets to him. So we'll see what they have in store.
Yeah, look forward to those big plays. But thanks everybody for tuning in. Have a happy and safe New Year. We're gonna be back probably on Wednesdays moving forward this year with a new format. A lot of exciting stuff going on. So stay tuned. And thanks everybody for checking in.
Also,